So I grew up in Sweden, which is one of the most secular countries in the world. And I grew up in a secular family. No one was practicing any religion in my household. And my mother told me the story after I became a Muslim, that when I was 4 years old, I came to her a couple of times at night and I was crying and I asked her what's going to happen after we die, what's going to happen to all my loved ones. And she wasn't religious, so she told me the basic answer that after you die, everything is going to be black and you're not going to exist anymore and you're not going to care. So just don't think about death, just live your life and do good deeds, basically. So eventually I stopped asking, and I grew up in Sweden as a secular individual, but right after high school, I felt a strong urge to go out in the world and search for meaning. So I left my parents' house and I went to Thailand for 6 months just to find peace and find myself and to leave my normal environment and go out in the unknown. And being in Thailand, I started to read about Buddhism and I tried meditation because I wanted to ignite some religious aspects of my life that was lacking. I tried really hard with meditation, and when I read about the actual belief system of Buddhism, it didn't reconcile with me, and I didn't see myself as a person that left off my family and the worldly matters to go up in the mountains to live as a monk and to meditate all day. So after 6 months in Thailand, I went back to Sweden and I started to read about Christianity and Judaism and other religions except Islam. And when I read about these religions, they didn't reconcile with me either. I didn't find it logical. I couldn't accept it. So after a while I went to Norway, which is the neighbor country, to work, like many Swedes do. And at the workplace, I overheard some colleagues saying that these two colleagues, they don't drink alcohol because they're Muslims. And I was really impressed. I thought to myself, well, it's the normal cultural thing here to go out almost every weekend to drink and be with your friends and the colleagues and so on. So I had to ask them personally. So I went into the office that they were sitting in and I said, is it true that you don't drink alcohol because you're Muslims? And they said, yes, we believe in Islam, and in Islam it's forbidden to drink. So I was very positive to the response, and I said, can you teach me more about your religion? And they said, if you're interested, you should read, because we don't have so much knowledge about Islam. So I did. I got my hands on a short biography of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Only 300 pages, but in the first pages they explained, they laid out the Muslim belief system. And what really caught my interest and really got me focused was the simple explanation of pure monotheism, at-Tawheed, that God alone deserves to be worshipped, and that He's the all-knowing, and you can't see God in this life, and He is gonna hold you accountable in the next life, and He's the Al-Hakim, He's the all-wise, and He is Al-Basir, He's the all-seeing. And that was such a big impression on me, and I realized immediately that this is the thing that I have been looking for so long. And I didn't care if Islam had much propaganda against it. I was thinking, this is the truth, so I need to keep reading. So I kept reading. I read about the life of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and the companions, may Allah be pleased with them all. And I saw the effect that pure monotheism had on the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his companions, may Allah be pleased with them. And I knew that whatever they have, this is what I'm looking for, and I need to become a Muslim. So I went back to my mother in Sweden for a visit, and I told my mother, I sat her down and I said, Mom, I found Islam and it is the truth and I'm gonna accept it. And my mother said, okay, do what you want, I'm gonna support you. After this I went up to my old boys' room in my mother's house, and I didn't know much about Islam. I didn't even know how to become a Muslim. So I searched on Google how to become a Muslim, and I found the Declaration of Faith written in English and in Arabic with Latin letters. So I repeated the Latin letters of the Shahada, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. And I kept repeating it over and over again. And I felt as if my heart just bursted with joy, and the heavy weight just dropped from my back, and I felt so relieved and so gracious about this moment.